Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have long been seen as Hollywood's golden couple, funny, charming, and seemingly drama-free. But beneath that carefully curated image, their past relationships and interactions with other celebrities paint a much more complicated picture. From Reynolds' allegedly overlapping romances to his on-set feuds, and Lively's behind-the-scenes conflicts, the cracks in their public persona are starting to show.
If you made it this far, you definitely don't want to miss what happens next in this wild Hollywood drama. So, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications because we're keeping a close eye on all the latest updates. And trust me, you won't want to be the last to know when the next bombshell drops. So hit that subscribe button and join the conversation.
And with Justin Baldoni's lawsuit now threatening to expose even more, it seems like Hollywood is finally ready to talk. Before Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds was married to Scarlett Johansson, a relationship that seemed picture-perfect from the outside. But behind closed doors, rumors swirled that Reynolds was already forming a close bond with Lively while he was still married. Lively and Reynolds met in 2010 while filming Green Lantern, and by the time his divorce from Johansson was finalized in 2011, he and Lively were already publicly dating. Coincidence? Maybe. But many in Hollywood have whispered for years that their connection began much earlier, raising questions about just how clean the break between Reynolds and Johansson really was. Johansson has remained tight-lipped about the situation, but some believe her cool and detached attitude when discussing Reynolds in interviews speaks volumes. Unlike other exes who share fond words about their past relationships, Johansson has had almost nothing to say about her marriage to Reynolds, leading many to suspect that it didn't end on good terms. Reynolds has built a reputation as the funny, sarcastic guy who gets along with everyone. But that's not entirely true. Two of his biggest on-set feuds tell a different story, revealing a pattern of tension with co-stars who challenge him. First, there was Blade, Trinity, where Reynolds starred alongside Wesley Snipes. The production of the film was notoriously chaotic, with reports that Snipes was difficult to work with. However, some sources claim Reynolds made things worse by mocking Snipes behind his back and even ad-libbing lines meant to poke fun at him while filming. According to some crew members, Reynolds' humor wasn't always appreciated, and his clashes with Snipes escalated to the point where the two barely spoke. Snipes, for his part, allegedly communicated with Reynolds through post-it notes rather than speaking to him directly. Then there's Deadpool and the drama with T.J. Miller, who played Weasel in the franchise. While Miller has his own history of controversy, he claims that Reynolds turned cold and hostile toward him during the second Deadpool film. Miller has described Reynolds as insecure and passive-aggressive, saying that their friendship dissolved once Reynolds became a bigger star. The pattern is clear. Reynolds may be Hollywood's go-to funny guy, but when it comes to working relationships, things aren't always so smooth. While Reynolds has had his share of on-set tensions, Blake Lively isn't without controversy either. One of her most notable feuds happened during the filming of A Simple Favor with Anna Kendrick. Kendrick and Lively played best friends on screen, but off-screen, things were reportedly much frostier. Sources from the production claim that Lively wasn't happy with the way Kendrick was being promoted, feeling that she should have been positioned as the bigger star. The tension allegedly boiled over when Lively pushed for changes to the film's marketing and billing, trying to secure top billing over Kendrick. The behind-the-scenes battle made working conditions awkward, and by the time the film was released, the two were reportedly no longer on speaking terms. Lively's insistence on creative control and status isn't new. Over the years, she's made it clear that she wants to be seen as more than just Reynolds' wife or a former Gossip Girl star. But her tactics, especially when they come at the expense of her co-stars, have made her a divisive figure behind the scenes. If there was any doubt that Reynolds and Lively are willing to use their power to get what they want, the Justin Baldoni lawsuit should put that to rest. Baldoni, an actor, director, and producer, filed a $400 million lawsuit against Lively, claiming defamation and civil extortion. The legal battle stems from Lively allegedly making damaging accusations against Baldoni in an attempt to take control of a film project. The lawsuit is a major turning point because it puts a spotlight on Lively's behind-the-scenes maneuvering. It suggests that she's not just a passive participant in Hollywood politics, but an active player willing to go to extreme lengths. to secure her position. And Reynolds? His response has been telling. Instead of addressing the lawsuit directly, he's been blocking critics on social media and dodging questions. His silence only fuels speculation that there's more to this story than meets the eye. Reynolds and Lively have spent years crafting an image of themselves as the fun-loving, down-to-earth couple. Their social media banter, their carefully staged public appearances, and their avoidance of major Hollywood scandals have all worked in their favor. But this lawsuit threatens to undo all of that. If Baldoni wins, it could expose a different side of Lively and Reynolds, one that relies on media influence and industry connections to shape their narrative rather than genuine talent or goodwill. What makes this situation different from previous Reynolds and Lively controversies is that Hollywood insiders are finally speaking up. Normally, when A-list celebrities are involved in scandals, other stars stay silent to protect their own careers, but that's not happening here. Several unnamed sources have already hinted that there are more stories about Reynolds and Lively waiting to be told. Some have suggested that their perfect couple image is more of a business arrangement than a genuine romance. Others claim that Lively has burned bridges with other actresses behind the scenes. It's no longer just internet speculation. People within the industry are starting to confirm what many have suspected for years. So what happens next? If Baldoni's lawsuit gains traction, it could lead to a major shift in how Hollywood views Reynolds and Lively. For Reynolds, it could mean fewer roles in high-profile films. While he's currently riding the wave of Deadpool's success, Hollywood has a short memory when it comes to scandals. If enough people turn against him, studios may decide he's not worth the trouble. For Lively, the impact could be even more severe. Unlike Reynolds, who has an established career in major franchises, Lively's status in Hollywood is still somewhat fragile. If she's exposed as a manipulator behind the scenes, she could struggle to find meaningful work in the industry. It's no secret that Hollywood thrives on carefully curated public images, and few couples have mastered this better than Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. For years, they've portrayed themselves as the industry's favorite power duo, witty, charming, and refreshingly down-to-earth. But as more and more cracks begin to show, it's becoming harder to ignore the controversies and strained relationships that have followed them throughout their careers. While the general public sees Reynolds as the quick-witted, lovable prankster, reports from film sets suggest a different reality. His ongoing feuds with co-stars paint a picture of a man who isn't as universally adored as his PR team would have fans believe. His issues with Wesley Snipes and TJ Miller aren't isolated incidents. Some insiders have suggested that Reynolds often clashes with colleagues who don't fit into his comedic style. He's known for ad-libbing jokes on set, but not everyone appreciates being the subject of them, especially when it feels like the humor is at their expense. Another example comes from The Hitman's Bodyguard, where Reynolds starred alongside Samuel L. Jackson. While there were no publicized feuds, sources from the set claimed Reynolds often pushed for changes to the script to better suit his comedic timing, sometimes frustrating his co-stars. His preference for control over dialogue has led to friction on multiple productions, reinforcing the idea that he's not as easygoing as he seems. Reynolds' success in Hollywood isn't just due to his talent. It's also about his ability to network and maintain relationships with powerful figures. However, as more actors and insiders begin to speak out, it's clear that his standing in the industry is shifting. While he remains popular among certain circles, others have started to distance themselves. Some insiders believe that this is due to his increasing control over projects, especially since he moved into producing and financing films. His influence has allowed him to shape the narrative in his favor, but it has also created resentment among those who feel sidelined. Take Deadpool 3, for example. As the creative force behind the franchise, Reynolds has an unprecedented level of control. However, reports suggest that not all of his co-stars are thrilled with his hands-on approach. Some have hinted at frustrations over the way he dominates the project, leaving little room for others to have creative input. While Reynolds is at the center of Hollywood's superhero world, Lively's career has been a bit more complicated. Despite being a household name, she hasn't landed many major roles in recent years. Part of this is due to her selective nature. She has expressed a desire to only take on projects that interest her, but another reason may be her strained relationships within the industry. Her reported feud with Anna Kendrick during A Simple Favor was just one example of the tensions that have followed her career. There have also been murmurs of conflicts with other actresses, particularly those who have starred alongside her in ensemble casts. Even her time on Gossip Girl was allegedly filled with behind-the-scenes drama. While the show's stars kept things professional in public, it's been widely rumored that Lively didn't always get along with her co-stars. Some sources claimed she distanced herself from the cast once she started dating Leonardo DiCaprio, believing she had outgrown the series. One of the biggest criticisms of both Reynolds and Lively is their ability to manipulate public perception. Whether it's through social media antics, well-timed interviews, or strategic charity efforts, they've managed to avoid most major Hollywood scandals until now. With Justin Baldoni's lawsuit bringing new scrutiny, their ability to control the narrative is being put to the test. Unlike past controversies that they could laugh off or ignore, this situation has legal consequences. If the lawsuit moves forward, it could reveal information that they would rather keep hidden. One aspect of the case that has caught attention is Lively's alleged attempt to remove Baldoni from the film project they were working on together. If true, this would paint her in a very different light, one of someone willing to use accusations to consolidate power. For Reynolds, the lawsuit puts him in an uncomfortable position. He has built his brand on being unproblematic and well-liked, but his actions in response, blocking critics and refusing to address the situation, suggest that there may be more to the story than he wants the public to know. If Baldoni's lawsuit gains traction, it could have serious repercussions for Reynolds and Lively's careers. Hollywood is notoriously fickle, and while stars can recover from bad press, being at the center of a legal scandal is a different challenge altogether. For Reynolds, the main concern would be whether studios still see him as a bankable star. While his track record suggests he'll continue to find work, a prolonged controversy could make studios hesitant to attach him to major projects. For Lively, the stakes are even higher. She's not attached to any major franchise, meaning that any damage to her reputation could significantly impact her ability to land roles. If the industry perceives her as difficult to work with or manipulative, she may struggle to secure leading parts in the future. One of the most telling aspects of this situation is how other Hollywood figures are responding. While some have remained silent, others have subtly shown where they stand. Joe Rogan's vocal support for Baldoni is particularly significant. Rogan has a massive platform, and his endorsement of Baldoni's side of the story has likely influenced public opinion. At the same time, the lack of public support from other A-list stars for Reynolds and Lively is noticeable. Normally, when celebrities are caught up in controversy, their friends and colleagues will come to their defense. The silence from their peers suggests that many are either unwilling to get involved or don't believe their side of the story. With so much at stake, the next few months will be crucial for Reynolds and Lively. If they continue to ignore the controversy, they risk allowing Baldoni's narrative to take hold. If they respond too aggressively, they could come across as defensive or guilty. There's also the question of whether more information will come to light. Lawsuits often lead to unexpected revelations, and if Baldoni's case moves forward, we could learn more about the inner workings of Hollywood power dynamics. At the end of the day, this situation is bigger than just one lawsuit. It's about how Hollywood operates behind the scenes, how narratives are shaped, and how power is wielded. Reynolds and Lively may have spent years crafting the perfect image, but if this scandal continues to grow, that image may not be enough to save them.
Some sources claim she expected Swift to defend her publicly, just as Swift has done for other friends in the past. But this time, Swift wasn't willing to put her reputation on the line. And honestly, can you blame her? The fallout has divided fans. Some believe Swift was right to distance herself, arguing that loyalty has its limits, especially when a friend is involved in something as serious as a defamation lawsuit. Others see Swift's silence as a betrayal, insisting that she should have stood by Lively regardless of the allegations. Swift has built an empire by staying on the right side of history. She championed women's rights when she sued a DJ for groping her and won. She took control of her own music after her masters were sold without her consent. She stood up to Scooter Braun when he tried to profit off her work. In each of these cases, Swift was careful to ensure that she was fighting for something just and fair. But with Blake Lively's lawsuit, the situation wasn't so clear-cut. Swift reportedly felt that Lively was using their friendship as a shield against criticism. She was expected to stand by Lively's side simply because of their history, even though Swift had nothing to do with the allegations against Baldoni. And that was a line Swift wasn't willing to cross. It's also worth noting that Swift has learned from past experiences. She was once heavily criticized for standing by Lena Dunham, another close friend who faced backlash for defending a male writer accused of misconduct. That situation damaged Swift's credibility, and she wasn't about to make the same mistake again. With Swift stepping away, other celebrities have followed suit. A-list actresses who once praised Lively are now noticeably quiet. And then there's Ryan Reynolds, who has reportedly been doing damage control behind the scenes. As Lively's husband, he has no choice but to stand by her, but that doesn't mean he's happy about it. Sources suggest that Reynolds has been quietly trying to mend relationships behind the scenes, including with Swift. But the damage may already be done. With Swift choosing to walk away, Reynolds may find himself dealing with the fallout of his wife's legal mess alone. With the lawsuit moving forward, the stakes are higher than ever. If Lively loses, it could mark the end of her Hollywood career, as no studio will want to work with someone proven to have falsely accused a colleague. If she wins, it might not even matter, because the damage to her reputation has already been done. And as for Taylor Swift, she's made her decision. She's moving forward without Blake Lively by her side, proving once again that in Hollywood, friendships are just as fragile as reputations. Lively's legal drama isn't just affecting her friendship with Taylor Swift. It's causing waves throughout Hollywood. At this point, you have to ask, why isn't Hollywood speaking up? Where are all the legal experts? Because if Lively gets away with this, it sets a dangerous precedent for the industry. Imagine a world where actors can just rewrite history, throw out false claims, and completely destroy someone's career without any real consequences. That's what's at stake here. And that's probably why Joe Rogan decided to speak out. He's one of the few voices left who actually questions the media's narratives instead of just regurgitating them. He sees what's happening, and he's not afraid to say it. This whole thing stinks. But let's be real. Blake Lively isn't used to being questioned. She's built her entire career on this carefully curated America's sweetheart persona. She's always been seen as classy, elegant, and untouchable. Right now, Reynolds and Lively still have a lot of influence. They control their public image, they have loyal fans, and they still have Hollywood in the palm of their hands. But the truth always comes out. More and more people are realizing that Ryan Reynolds isn't the charming, humble guy he pretends to be. More and more people are seeing that Blake Lively isn't just the fun wife. She's a PR mastermind, and once that illusion completely shatters, there's no coming back from it.
For years, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively have carefully maintained their public image, making sure they're seen as the fun, unproblematic power couple of Hollywood. But their history of on-set feuds, industry politics, and now a massive lawsuit are proving that things aren't as perfect as they seem. Hollywood is finally starting to talk. The cracks are showing. And if Justin Baldoni's lawsuit succeeds, it could be the moment that exposes Reynolds and Lively for who they really are.